We spent the better part of the first quarter really dealing with the conflicts between all these students, but then after that circle we didn't have any conflicts for the remainder of the year.
You can feel that they really come to terms with what they've done, and they grow through it.
It gives a context for learning to take precedence over any drama.
They're kind of forced to listen to the other perspective.
Restorative justice is a philosophy that responds to harm and wrongdoing. It is victim-centered and focuses on offender accountability. Restorative justice offers an alternative to traditional student discipline.
Tell me, what would you need to make this situation right?
Pre-conferences allow the offender and the victim to privately voice their perspective on the incident. Wrongdoing is viewed as a violation of a person or community, as well as a violation of discipline code.
Thank you everybody for coming to our Restorative Justice Circle today.
Then, dialogue about the wrongdoing is facilitated within a circle process. Participation in the restorative justice process is voluntary and is appropriate to address a variety of offenses. Within the circle, all parties who were harmed by the incident can participate: students and their parents, administrators, and other staff members.
Facilitators come in and their questions are crafted. They know what they're going to ask, and it's very purposeful. It's to give the individual that was harmed time to express and share out how they feel, how that affected them in many, many different ways. And then in doing so, time is provided for the individual that caused the behavior or the person that caused the harm gets the opportunity to listen in a very quiet, controlled environment. There's support there, they feel supported, but they're there to really look eyeball to eyeball at that person that is sharing how this made them feel.
It's really hard to sit down in a face-to-face conversation with somebody that you harmed. One of the beautiful side effects of a restorative process is that it teaches those social, emotional skills that our young students are losing. The ability to have that face-to-face conversation and communication, and to, we say, bring your truth into the circle and talk about what you've done or talk about what you've experienced rather than just texting it to somebody. It's so easy to do behind a keyboard. It's a lot harder to do when you're face-to-face with that person.
Some of the things that have happened have impacted you all greatly, and it's important that you be able to speak your truth, speak from the heart, and be able to feel like this is a safe space. So this is our talking piece, and this is your way of knowing that this is your chance to speak. And again, I'll reiterate the confidentiality piece of it, that it is very important that we respect that we keep what's said in here private.
The three main goals of restorative justice are accountability, character development, and of course, school and community safety. Restorative justice is a learning process for students.
What were you thinking at the time?
I think it absolutely creates a sense of empathy, and for students, especially teenagers, to get a wider perspective of a single action or of how other people's actions impact them is an incredibly important part of their learning.
I think it also shifts the view of how parents view the students, especially for the parent of a victim. They feel very protective of their child, as they should, and they sort of perceive this other person who caused this harm as this bad student or this bad kid. And when they see them in the circle process, it sort of like brings a humanity to that student as just, you know, a regular adolescent who made a mistake, who was not considering the thoughts and feelings of another person, who was acting out of anger, acting impulsively. So it really has been powerful.
The parents that have been involved, I think, have really been impressed by the power that there is in the conversation. The words put front and center what is really at the core of the incident, is that somebody has been harmed or impacted in a certain way, and the person or persons who have been responsible for that are truly taking responsibility for it. They're establishing an agreement of what they are going to do to address the harm. In most cases, if not all, it involves an apology.
Through the whole process, when they see that other person, you know, just explains how this made them feel, they are usually taken aback by it. And right away, just you can see it in their demeanor, their eyes, their body, just kind of slumps, and they realize, oh, I did this, I caused that. And more often than not, they say sorry right away.
Sometimes a written agreement is made and signed by all parties. By focusing on repairing the harm, students are able to move past the incident and avoid future conflicts.
School safety is a key factor in any decision an administrator makes. Restorative justice processes actually make the school a lot safer, and there's research and there's data that we have now that speaks to that. What happens after a 3-day suspension if a student comes back and there's been a conflict, for example with another student or a teacher, the conflict is still there. And so the school has not been made safer through just removing the student for a few days. So restorative processes do make the school community safer, and there's been a lot of research and a lot of data comparing a zero tolerance perspective to a more restorative perspective. And so the restorative process absolutely does make the school a safer place.